Hello everybody, I got a challenge for you today. Which of these grinders do you think in the Mignon line has the biggest burrs? The Specialita, the Perfetto, the Silenzio, the Manuale, the Classico, or the Turbo? Stop the video here and write your answer down below in the comment section. So as we all know, Eureka has hit a home run.
Home run!
With the Specialita grinder in its Mignon series. And due to that, they have spawned off a whole bunch of different grinders with different names and slightly different characteristics. They all look very similar to the Specialita. They all have very similar dimensions and weight sizes, and the motor is pretty much the same in all of them. But they do differ in that some have a display, some don't, some have a timer, some don't, and the burr sizes are different. So let's talk about all of these differences and find out which of these grinders is best for your use case. So today, let's do the Eureka Mignon Disambiguation. By the way, click on the description box down below if you want to learn more about these grinders. I will have them linked. Okay, let's go ahead and start off with the Specialita because that does seem to be the best seller and probably the most well-known of the Mignon line. So this grinder is 5.6 kilos. It is 350 millimeters tall, 120 millimeters wide, and 180 deep. This contains a motor that has 310 watts and spins at 1350 RPMs. So this motor is used in most of their grinding line. This one also has a very nice display here. It's white digits on black. Portafilter holder here, which is adjustable. A button to start and stop with this one. And you can set up 2 different times here for either a single or double dose. You can also switch it so that you can grind continuously. So those are the main features of the Specialita. It has 55 millimeter burrs, by the way, and a 300 gram hopper on top. Okay, so this can be had in Europe for right around 350 euros plus value-added tax. And in the States, it does cost more. So this varies by market. One more thing to mention. Next to the Specialita is a cousin called the Design. And the Design has exactly the same specifications as the Specialita does, but it comes in some wood-colored designs. Now let's move on to the next grinder, which is the Perfetto. If the Specialita is so good, well then the Perfetto must be even better, right? Okay, here's my line of thinking on the Perfetto. It looks pretty much just the same as the Specialita, but it has a different dial on top that shows you roundabout where you should be for espresso or for pour over and so on. And otherwise, it looks to be exactly the same. Now, the one difference with the Perfetto is, however, it comes with only 50 millimeter flat burrs compared to the larger 55 millimeter flat burrs in the Specialita. One thing to mention, a very important point, both the Specialita and the Perfetto, as well as the Silenzio, which is coming next, all come with silent technology. So these grinders are very, very quiet. I can even talk while it's grinding. So we're just going to move on to the Silenzio. So the Silenzio is very similar to the Specialita. It's got the same specifications, but it's missing the display. Because it's missing the display, it has a timer on the bottom. And it does also differ in that it only has 50 millimeter burrs compared to the 55 of the Specialita. But what it does have is that really nice silent technology. And that is one of my absolute favorite things about the Mignon line. This really quiet grind. So that's the Silenzio. Let's move on to the next two. Next we have the Classico and the Manuale. So both of these are really similar actually to the older Mignon MCI model, which was also a popular model, but in the Specialita casing. So these come with the same motor, 310 watts, spinning at 1350 RPMs, 50 millimeter burrs, but unfortunately without the silent technology. So they are a bit louder and they're kind of whiny. However, The Manuale you can be had for quite a good price. You can find this for about 200 euros plus VAT in Europe, and in America for about $329 plus tax. So this might be a really good model for you if you're looking to get something on the economical side. You don't really need the display and you don't care so much about the silent technology, then I would say the Manuale is a great choice. Okay, so the Manuale and the Classico are really similar, except for that the Classico still has a timer like the MCI did, and the Manuale does not have a timer. So you have to just engage the portafilter while you are grinding. Let's move on to what I think is one of the most interesting ones, the turbo. So the turbo is the one that really differentiates itself from the rest because it's got a different motor and it has different burrs. And so if you guessed right, yes, the turbo has got the largest burrs at 65 millimeters. It also has a more powerful motor. It turns at 1650 RPMs, so it's a good amount faster, and it's 320 watts, so just slightly more powerful. The turbo also weighs a bit more at 7.2 kilos, but otherwise it looks very similar to the Specialita with the same display with timer capabilities, but the grinding is going to be much faster than the Specialita. For me, the Specialita grinds at about 1 gram per second, and I'm guessing that the turbo is going to grind closer to 2 grams per second. Then there is one last really cool option to talk about, which is the Eureka Mignon Zero. Now this is Eureka's answer to single dosing, and that's the reason they call it zero for zero retention. That is the goal. So there's a baffle on top that you can hit so that at the end of your espresso grinding, you can get the rest of the grounds out of there through the use of that baffle. It also has a nice knob on top for adjusting, a much nicer, bigger knob than the smaller one here on the Specialita. However, it does seem to be missing one thing that a lot of people like to modify their Specialita with, which is a ramp to kind of tilt the thing upwards. If you tilt the thing like that, then you're going to end up also with lower retention. That is the Mignon Zero, another very interesting offering from Eureka. And that does it for the espresso grinders. Let's talk real quick about the grinders that Eureka offers in the same Specialita casing, but rather with burrs equipped for coffee. So first of all, we've got the Filtro and we got the Filtro Silent. So these are two grinders. They're both lacking any kind of display. They're pretty much bare bone grinders, 50 millimeter flat burrs, which have a brew specific design. They come with the same motor, the 1350 RPM 310 watt motor, and they have the same kind of look and dimensions as the Specialita does. The difference between these two, of course, is that the Filtro has no silent technology, while the Filtro Silent does have the silent technology, which can be very important in some use cases. Let's move on to the Crono. So the Crono is another one that's got 50 millimeter brew specific burrs. It has the same motor as the previous one, but it's got a timer. And I think that's what Crono stands for. Crono is Latin for time. Next we have the Brew Pro, which looks extremely similar to the Specialita. It has the same display. It's got the same kind of design as well. It even has 55 millimeter brew specific burrs installed and the same motor. So I would say that Brew Pro is pretty much the exact counterpart to the Specialita, only with brew specific burrs. Then finally we've got the Zero Brew. And now both on the Mignon Zero and on the Zero Brew, you're lacking any kind of display, but you've got the baffle on top and you've got a nicer adjustment knob. So those are the offerings that all come within the casing of the Specialita design. Let me know, what do you think? Which one do you think provides the best value? Let me know in the comment section down below. Pricing and availability for these things is going to be different all around the world. So you're going to have to just do a little bit of research and see what you can find in your specific country for the parameters that you want and the price that you want. I hope that this video was helpful for you, and if so, please give it a like and check out my other videos. If you like what you see, subscribe to the channel. It's totally free. And until next time, I say happy coffee drinking and happy espresso drinking. Bye now.